I'm back. I'm back fighting Irish Faithful on the last day of July before August. And normally this is probably the earliest return I've ever had in now 4 years. This is, yes, year 4. It's the senior year. So I don't know if this means we get senior privileges now. At least my high school did that. I don't know about you, Red Snapper. But yeah, we're back. The Fighting Irish Faithful show is back. With a lot of news here to talk about today. It's been Red Snapper. When was the last show we did?
Oh goodness, it's been a minute.
It has. It was actually after the spring game, and normally I have enough time to like listen to all the old stuff, but because we've amassed so many hours of listening time, and I also now have a toddler. The free time has been condensed, and the podcasts are just getting longer, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
So baby Irish Faithful has graduated to toddler Irish Faithful?
He is now toddler Irish Faithful. More to come on that. But before we get we probably have some new people that are listening to us for the first time. They're like, what the hell is this? I'm used to Dos Leprechauns. This is not Jason and Nate. My name is Joe. I am at Faithful_Irish on the Twitter. This is the Fighting Irish Faithful show, season 4, episode 3, volume 89. And my co-host is...
And I'm Michael. I am Red Snapper 9098.
We are brothers, and you are my older brother, Red Snapper. And we were
by a few years,
just a handful, nothing too extreme. But yes, we were asked to join Dos Leprechauns Media, so we are now powered by Dos Leprechauns Media. So I didn't see a check in the mailbox, Red Snapper, today, but maybe you got some free swag or something.
It's probably because I don't have a snazzy new avatar like you do.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that was handed down. Yeah, the avatar has changed, and this is the third logo in 4 years. Whatever.
Yeah, I think I just need to kind of split screen mine with your old one.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what you should do. Somehow get like the stripes, or I don't know how you're gonna do that. Maybe throw a shamrock on your red helmet there. But anyway,
I'll figure it out.
All right, enough of the nonsense. But yeah, we are happy to join Dos Leprechauns and talk about preseason hurdles. Now, people may be wondering, why the heck is this episode 3? And that's because I don't do a show in the off season. I limit my exposure to Notre Dame primarily to the football season, because we are powered by scotch and spreadsheets. And yes, we can always drink scotch, I suppose, in the off season, but the spreadsheet piece is because this show, why is this show different, Red Snapper? Maybe you should just chime in here.
Well, honestly, it's the free banter that's based on statistics. So you like to say spreadsheets, but what we're really getting down is it's statistical analysis. That's what we go off of.
Damn straight. So. Yeah. And it's really because I like arguing and being right when I argue, and there's no better way to do that than with actual facts. So
I like numbers.
I do like. I am an engineer by trade. But anyway, yeah. Before we get into anything else, if you haven't seen it on Twitter or YouTube, or I don't know what other avenues Notre Dame media is doing. Show me the green jersey. And I'm actually in all green, and that was not planned. I have my green Notre Dame hat, green Irish shorts, and a green Irish shirt on. So I'm actually greened out for the podcast. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, it was a announcement of green jerseys. Hooray. We're finally actually doing that, 2 years in a row. Good job, Marcus Freeman. But Red Snapper, you've kind of alluded to this. What did they use?
It was an amazing cameo retake of the Jerry Maguire scene between Cuba Gooding Jr. and Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Where it's the show me the money, but it's a play on words. So it's show me the green jersey.
Show me the green jersey.
It is literally like mannerisms, like dancing, topless, wearing a gold chain, the brother in the background flipping the football around,
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman sitting at his desk and annoying the secretary and the random guy walking down the hall. It
Like,
was
who the
awesome.
hell was that? Yeah. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, so that was originally I was going to give the Twitter shout out to Al Washington, who we still can, and but yeah, I think the Twitter shout out is going to have to go to the Notre Dame media people.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that I
Here. Whoever pitched that, whoever's idea was that, there's the toast of the day right
yeah,
there.
whoever that
Brilliant.
person is, maybe it's a new member of the staff. Who knows? I maybe it was Ron Paulus. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll go from there. Well, if anyone from Dos Leprechauns jumps on, that would be fine. I guess there is Patty Mack here, so we'll invite him to speak first because he was the first waiting. But yeah, Patty Mack here. You've been invited to speak. Yeah, we do live on Twitter at EP Kinging Always S. What the dude? Really long. I'm not sure what all that is, but you've been invited to speak if you want. But yeah. We like to make it a little more interactive. That's another thing that's a little different about this show. It's not just me monologuing, and there are other interactive shows, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not going to talk about stuff we read on the internet and Twitter all year long. I'll let it kind of build up to be something like it is now, where I literally had potentially 8 topics to talk about tonight. So and we've hit none of them for recording for over 5-7 minutes here. So
yeah, it's all good. I think one of my favorite parts is, and this is where the spreadsheets, the statistics come in, but really I think your earmark is the championship curve that you create your statistics based off of.
I mean, it's not exactly like a line graph or anything, but
no, but it's all based on the statistics of the national champion.
Yeah.
From year to year over a 10-year span?
Yes. So and this is not to poke fun at ourselves, i.e. Notre Dame. No, this is more like I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. Everyone listening to this is a Notre Dame fan. Well, maybe there's some spies from the team up north maybe who are listening to this. If you are, please leave. But we want Notre Dame to be great. And so how can we get there? What are the teams that are holding up the awkward new gold trophy doing? It's not just recruiting, it's other performance on the field. It's anything from coaching and some of these other things. So we're always comparing Notre Dame. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but comparing Notre Dame and their stats to what national champions are doing. But also we've figured out what stats are actually more important than others. And so we're going to talk about that. And if that bores you, then, listen anyway, because you're going to miss some fun stuff anyway.
And on that note, you guys, you have the ability to request to speak. So if we hit something
Everyone's being
that's
very polite,
by all means, please request to speak.
That's right.
The two of us banter on all day, but hey,
we are brothers. So there you go.
Looks like Dos Leprechauns just jumped on.
Oh, well, maybe we should hand. Oops, the boss is here. Hide the beers, man. That's right. Dos Leprechauns is here, so now we'll not be on our best behavior. Maybe we'll just mess around more. But before I hand off the microphone here to Dos Leprechauns here, there is something I do want to do, and I've actually been wanting to do this for sometime even last season, but just either forgot or just didn't plan for it. But this time, want to try to also have this be more engaging from a charitable standpoint. And look, it's your money, you earned it. Be thankful the government didn't take it. But if you want to donate to charity, I'm here to encourage you. I will be participating in the plane poll here in Indianapolis on August 12th to support the Special Olympics. So we'll get that bat signal out there on Twitter. If you would like to donate to the Special Olympics and the special needs athletes, by all means, the event is really fun. I do it with the Knights of Columbus, my council. We're a Catholic men's service organization, and one of the organizations that we support is the Special Olympics. And I've posted video of me doing the polar plunge, which is very exciting. Now the plane pole is even more fun. It's just like really, really short.
What was your time last year?
We
you guys
won
did it last year, right?
Yeah, we did it last year. We won our division. We weren't like the best team overall. I think like, the National Guard or police or, some other group of, like bodybuilders probably beat us. But we had some beef from Northern Indianapolis who jumped on, and they, we had quite the strong team. So I was trying to recruit. I'm like going around people at church like, that's a strong looking dude. Oh, that's right. You do CrossFit. Hey, come. I'm like trying to
join the Knights of Columbus.
Join the
Pull a
Knights of
plane.
Columbus. Yeah, and let's pull a plane, right, and support. So
Fellowship.
if you it is, and so look, if you want to support the Special Olympics, that's cool. If it's not your thing, Jesus loves you anyway, so it's all good. All right, enough of that. But plane pole, a lot of fun. So, all right, Dos Leprechauns, I see you're there.
What's up, fellas?
Jason, thank
What's
you
up?
for bringing us on.
Well, thank you for bringing me on today, and thank you for being a part of what we got going on. I see we have Jason Lynch on the line, Patty Mack. We can't say the rest of his nickname on air, but Patty Mack's on as well. We got the Snapper. What's up, Snapper?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
You say it like that, it's
here.
like he's a turtle if he's a snapper. Like,
Hey,
Snapper. I'm just sitting here drinking myself to.
It's fun being the color commentary. I snap at people. What can I say?
Well, that's good. No, and you're red, I guess. But I'm just sitting here drinking myself to death because Under Armour. Yuck.
Ugh. No. Gender.
No!
No. Did that just break just now?
Yeah, like an hour ago. But that
what?
As
While I was dicking around with Twitter here trying to get it to work.
So instead of show me the green jersey, it should have been show me the Nike.
I mean,
Son of a
anything. The thing is, man, is Under Armour is not fat boy friendly. It is, even if you're chubby boy friendly. Under Armour does not leave a lot of room to, drink. So,
Spandex.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. The damn polo shirts are spandex.
Yeah.
It's not even, I don't know what material that is, but it's not normal.
It doesn't
material.
breathe. It just collects body odor and builds it up.
Yeah.
That's all it does.
Yep. So honestly,
all I
what
see
people
is
should do
something on Yahoo, which is just suspect. Under Armour.
No, it's all
massive.
It's all over now. It hasn't been no official announcement from the university or Under Armour, but it's official.
Oh, God bless. At Notre Dame, we may have to address that later. I don't think people are ready for my Under Armour Nike
they'll save
rant.
it for a Tuesday night publication.
Maybe we'll do it at the
Marty,
end.
anybody?
I'll put a note at the end here. I'm just going to draw a giant swoosh here on my page, and that'll remind me to do it later.
Hey,
well, thanks, boss,
of your
for
page.
bringing the bad news here. This is like...
Yeah, sorry, man.
You're like Bill Lumberg here. I'm going to have you come in on Saturday to do this work.
Better have that TPS report ready.
You can take your TPS
Gerard,
report
can you
and...
please use the correct cover page?
Yeah. We sent several memos about it. Anyway, real quick. Joe,
I sent several tweets about how Notre Dame should pick Nike.
I want my damn red stapler back, all right?
Well, I just want to talk about this new logo, Joe. It's beautiful. Let's talk about your new logo.
Well, I think you provided it for me, so I did update Spotify with it. So the Etsy store does need to be repolished with the new logo here. But I don't know. Maybe the Dos Leprechauns store is now selling Fighting Irish Faithful T-shirts with the new logo. I don't know.
Absolutely. Plus, we need to get some koozies going with the new logo.
Yeah, there you go.
Popular.
Yes. Yeah, those are, and the Scotch glasses, that we did sell a couple of those, a couple of pints. So, yeah, there will be more swag coming, prioritizing podcast and content, and actually getting Twitter Spaces to work because it took 4 tries today. But, hey, what's the deal? Sidebar, did Twitter, redo their... logo or whatever, it's no longer the bird. Yeah. What's up with the giant X?
I call Elon. I don't know.
Okay, all right, we'll get him on the podcast next week and
Elon,
explain that.
If you're listening, Elon, come on and let us know why you changed it.
Is it not called Twitter anymore? We're on X. Is this like HBO Max just went to Max?
Probably.
So wait, is Peacock gonna shorten them to P?
Hey, keep it. Remember,
It's a
we're
family
We are a PG-13 R-rated show, but I'm glad y'all
Well, it
got
depends.
a humor out of that.
If it's the After Dark show, that's a whole nother story.
It's not the After Dark show. It's the first show of the season. All right, you can't scare everybody away. All right. All right. Well, moving on. We are happy to be part of the Dos Leprechauns media universe. I don't know what planet we are. Probably Saturn, because there's a bunch of rings. And well, actually, no, we don't have any rings because last time Notre Dame won a title I was 4. So Red Snapper was 8.
I was 8 as well, Snapper.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh, you guys are basically like
What are you
buddies there.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking right now, Joe? I hear something going on in the little.
Oh, you know
there.
what it is. It's scotch. We actually put the
boy.
yeah. So these are signs that it's fall. Okay, number 1, we're podcasting. Hooray! Number 2, well, we put the bourbon down because that's kind of the spring and summer thing, and then we went to just a 12-year blended scotch here from Costco. Nothing crazy. But today is the first evening here in Indianapolis that it hasn't been stupid humid hot. I actually went outside and it was very like cool and pleasant, and like the windows are open in the house. It's fantastic. So I don't know if whatever was going on in Arizona, the furnace you were living in, if hopefully that crap stopped, but it actually felt like fall for the first time for the last day of July.
It's 7:30 p.m. here in Goodyear, Arizona right now, and it's 104 degrees. So no, the furnace continues,
Okay.
And the 10-day looks to be like an average of like 110 over the next 10 days. So yay!
I got some chilies out of the garden that maybe I could send to you, and you could just dry out, on your kitchen or something.
I'm happy to help.
All right,
We're
we'll
here
do
for
that. Well, good. Well, let's bring some other people on, gentlemen.
Get lunch on here.
Yeah, well, I sent him an invite. He doesn't. Jason Lynch has been invited to speak, but I think he's shy, so that's okay.
Ooh, Adam Dowling's on here.
Adam will speak, but I know he'll get up early. But Adam was.
But the question is, Mrs. Dowling listening as well?
Maybe it is Mrs. Dowling. She stole his phone. That would be great.
It's happened before.
It's happened before. Has it happened to Adam? I know it happened to Jimmy Gallagher, but. All people are invited on the show.
That's because Jimmy was listening at a Pee-wee soccer game.
I thought it was like cheer camp or something.
Dude, he's done it so many times where he hides his AirPods in his hoodie.
Yeah, that's right. Well, a bunch of people have been invited to speak. There's Mr. Lynch, Jason.
There we go.
Hello, welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful Show.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, what's on your mind? We have a myriad of topics. We could just spin the roulette wheel, or I could provide a topic for you.
Or we can go Alex Trebek potpourri.
I don't know.
Let's talk about Lunch's favorite pastimes that don't include Notre Dame football.
My favorite pastime that doesn't include Notre Dame football?
And just remember, you and I have known each other a long time, so don't try to skirt by on this one.
Borderline alcoholism? I don't know.
Fair.
That's all I can think of.
He does live in Arkansas, so I'm putting that out there.
It's
my
not.
Goodness.
Actually,
I want to hear Mr. Lynch's opinion about the new coaching staff, and specifically our new quarterback coach, Gino Guidugli.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I haven't done much research on that.
Well, he's not Tommy Reese, so step 1, right?
Yeah, it's got to be an
Gold
improvement.
star of improvement.
Yeah, got to be an improvement.
Well, I mean, he was formerly of Cincinnati, right? And he did coach Desmond Ridder, who did beat Notre Dame, even though we played like ass that game. But we don't need to bring up those stats. We can. I have them here in the spreadsheet if people really want to get dark. But I don't know if we want to do that in this first episode.
No.
But I will say this, Mr. Lynch, what's your opinion? He did not follow Luke Fickell to Wisconsin. Instead, he took a position at Notre Dame.
I like the Hartman aspect of it, but also I think he's maybe he sees what's coming in the future as far as Benny would say, General Carr
Yeah.
is on his way to South Bend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We probably have some halfway decent prospects, not only with Hartman, but then CJ Carr, who, Dos Leprechauns has looked at in person. I think you're onto something there. The future is bright, looks good, and compared to Wisconsin, who knows?
Well, one of the things that I really appreciate about the move with Dino is that we have a dedicated quarterbacks coach. We don't have an offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach, head coach, quarterback coach. We have a dedicated, experienced, successful quarterback coach. So that's going to be huge, guys.
I agree. And what's really funny about that is I was listening to an older show. I listened to the Clemson show from this past year, the one that Adam Dowling rushed the field with his 6-year-old dad and hopped a fence. Because they were being chased by security. No, I'm just kidding. But I had mentioned in that show that maybe what needs to happen with Reese is if he stayed to be the OC still, or was still our OC, is that he just steps down from being the quarterback coach and we just bring someone else in. Now, both of those things happened where Reese leaves and we now have 2 coaches that take over that, vacuum. So hooray. And nothing personally against Reese per se. I mean, other than the fact that he just didn't really develop quarterbacks, and that's just kind of my thing. But Desmond Ridder did halfway decent with the Falcons this past year, and there it is.
He's got the starting nod, so he's QB1.
Yeah, and I barely know anything about the NFL, and I actually know about that. So, good.
Yeah, I don't know that Tommy ever really had full reign over the offense or the quarterbacks as far as that goes. Maybe the guy that's further south than me in the swamp he would probably know more, but I don't think old BK let him have the reins very much.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting way to go because, how much can he really develop, when you're given some players that are like take Jack Cohn, for example, how much can you actually develop him when he's in his grad transfer year, right? But you could also say the same thing about Gaduli here with Hartman. How much is he really going to, change with Hartman or develop? I don't know.
I think there's an inherent talent level that starts the foundation of everything. And I think we'll all agree that Hartman probably has more upside than how Jack Cohn was coming into the season.
Oh, sure. And no way am I comparing them. I think it's like night and day difference.
The one defense I will give Reese is he didn't have a healthy quarterback for the duration of a season. So it was mixed bag nuts of who's my quarterback because, okay, I've got Jack Cohn and we're going to play a couple downs with Buckner just to mix things up. And then Buckner goes down. So we got Drew Pine, and it was a revolving door.
I think that's the case in
2 years ago at the spring game. All of us thought it was Angeli who looked the best 2 years ago.
He did look best in the spring game.
It was ridiculous that season. And so just looking at everything, I don't think he really had a clear-cut number one like Sam Hartman this year, really. Sure. And to have, a whole summer practice, to have a whole, now fall, and to get into the season, I don't think you really have the questions this year that have existed previously. So the one thing I will defend with Reese is he didn't have any consistency.
No.
Correct. Well, and the first couple years when he was, quarterback coach, right, he took over in 2017, and so you got Wimbush, and 2017 is what it is. But then, everyone remembers the end book through that pass to Boykin in the LSU game. And then, 2018 rolls around, you think Wimbush is going to be improved. And, then Kelly does the crazy swap with Book, which looked like he was a genius when he did that. But then you go to Book's last year, so now this is year 3 of Reese under the helm as with the same quarterbacks, right? And Book actually shows regression in some areas, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, and I can back that up if people want, but that's not really the focus. But I was just kind of more curious on Jason's opinion here of our new quarterback coach, and do you see that as a positive? Or do you think now there's just too many cooks in the kitchen because you got the head coach, now you got a quarterback coach, and then you got the OC with Parker?
I think it's a positive because, I mean, you look, this guy's got one job, and it's to develop a quarterback. So that's all he has to focus on, all he has to work for. And, I mean, with what he's done, and I mean, Desmond Ridder is, like you said, he was a stud. And I think he'll go well in the next level. You know, like Snapper said, he's the starting quarterback for the Falcons. That's, you know, says a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and then moving on in the coaching staff, Brian Mason, we had to replace him because the Colts picked him up. But now we have a former. Do you guys? Marty Begay, I think is how you say his name. Do you guys know where he went to college?
I do not.
Marshall.
No. Too soon.
Yeah, that
Is
hurt.
it?
That hurt. Things a little bit.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. Wow.
Exactly.
Actually, I have that sound effect too, but the time has passed. And then, all right. So then the other two big departures, of course, is Heastan, retires or whatever he does. So now we have Joe Rudolph. And then, of course, Bayless. Now we'll come back to Bayless. I got a question here. Where's Adam Dowling? I want to pop quiz with him because he's usually savvy on this kind of stuff because he's all about the Twitter and listening to podcasts in the summer. But he's just listening. Maybe he's like doing the dishes or something. But
no, I'm telling you, the wife's got the phone.
That's fine. Was he in like timeout? Like he lost like restriction? What's going on here? No,
really, I'm just saying I'm throwing shade just to get him on. So there he is.
Oh.
Where are you guys?
Hey, there
Hi,
he
Adam
is.
Dowling.
Can't live without me, can you?
Hey, you know me. I'm gonna sit there and goat you until you get on.
That's right. At Adam _ Dowling 1 on the Twitter. Welcome back, sir.
How's the summer been, guys?
It's been good. If we had like a director of podcast development, it would be you, Adam.
Why is that?
You're just always egging us on in good ways, not like I wouldn't say you're the strength and conditioning coach, but you're more like doing the market research and shit like that. I don't know. I'm trying to give you a compliment here. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So our new O-line coach, Coach Rudolph. Okay, so there is a connection between him and Marcus Freeman before, the offseason here when he was hired. Do you know what that connection is?
No, I don't.
Like for example, don't. Parker, he coached with Freeman when they were at Cincinnati together, right?
I actually think Parker and Freeman were at Purdue together. I don't even know if they were at Cincinnati together.
They were at Cincinnati, but they were at Purdue as well.
Okay.
Coach Rudolph was a grad assistant and then was a strength and conditioning coach at Ohio State from 04 to 05 when Marcus Freeman was a player.
Yeah, I was going to guess.
That is the connection.
He was at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one jumped off the page for me. I was like, whoa, that's okay. So.
That's different.
And of course, then the elephant in the room is Bayless.
The O-line coach, because, he was at Wisconsin for years too, and Wisconsin was always known for having great O-line. So
yeah,
correct.
They've got a hog lineup.
Does that mean we're going to run the football more?
I think we'll be balanced because Sam Hartman didn't come here to just hand the football off.
That is true, but it also makes him
Pass will
looks
open
good
up
in
the
that 2
run,
seconds
and the
between
run
the
will
snap
open
and the
up the
handoff.
pass.
Maybe we have to
it'll
run the
be
ball to open the
balanced.
pass. Exactly. Red snapper. I couldn't say it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they won't be able to just load the box because Sam Hartman's great at throwing a deep ball. So
Yeah.
And I think we'll actually play some receivers this year that maybe didn't play last year.
Correct.
That can stretch the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, all of them. Well, and anyone who saw the spring game or was able to make out the spring game between the rain, the snow, and the sleet, if you were in the stadium, that's a joke. Because it was terrible weather. Hartman commanded the gold team, right? He was putting the ball exactly where it needed to go before receivers even like turned to look over their shoulder, right? The ball is already.
Thomas and him looked like they had some great chemistry already. So,
if you can remember right in that game, really most of the receivers were on the blue team, and all Hartman had was Greathouse and Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And the ball just like I think
the
we've
quote unquote
just been
good
so
receivers
starved
were
Notre
with
Dame fans.
Buckner.
Yes. And I think we've been so starved with bad quarterback play for so long as Notre Dame fans, seeing Hartman just get the ball and deliver it on time, right where it needs to go. It was like, oh my God, like I haven't seen quarterback play like this since I was in like 10 years.
Yeah.
It was just like everything was just like in rhythm, right on time.
Yeah, and I think this is an appropriate time. I know, Adam, you know this, since you're a resident, experienced member of the podcast, but also our director of podcast development. The stats that I talk about, the stats of champions over the last 10 years, it's pretty obvious. The most important thing is scoring touchdowns. So if you ranked 4th or 5th in the country on average in scoring touchdowns, you tend to have a really good season. And that's what the national champion does. The next important stat behind that is passing touchdowns. It's the second most important stat. It was also second most important last season. The average ranking of that team holding the trophy is 8.6 in the country. And above and beyond that, it's not just be ranked, 8th. The value of that, they throw 41 touchdowns for the season. It's nuts.
So that's our target goal.
Yeah. Now that's a little skewed because that implies a 15 game season, which means that like if you're Georgia and you win the SEC, right, you play that conference championship game, right? So so you really have to like divide it and then multiply it by 14 to get Notre Dame for the current playoff format, right? Now next year it's going to be totally different with the 12 team thing, and that's a whole other topic we can talk about. But
and I would like to say, like, we have to remember with these clock rule changes, I think your offensive numbers are going to be skewed this year because there's going to be less possessions.
If they would just speed up the fucking replay and just make it only 30 seconds and just like how often have you looked at the 3 camera angles they present? 2 of them are usually dog shit and then only one of them is good. Then it's like, okay, it's either yes, it's irrefutable or it confirms on the field or whatever. Make it 30 seconds, right? And then that's it. Make the call and then you're done. And if you can't figure it out in 30 seconds, let's not be NBC and replay it, over and over and over again, frame by frame. Like, who cares? Everyone's already made up their mind when they first saw it.
But the point I was trying to make is that it's the new rule is that the clock will not stop at first downs. So
it's more like the NFL.
Yes, there's going to be less possessions. There's going to be less plays. So points per game are probably
going to be a premium.
Down.
Absolutely. That's
especially a team like Notre Dame that's going to run the ball. Their points will be down compared to previous years. So when you're comparing like the offenses from previous years, we got to remember to consider the rule change.
I think that's going to be interesting with respect to like at the end of games, if you're trying to do a come from behind kind of thing. It's going to be a lot more like the NFL. And if anything, it's going to put a lot more emphasis on if you just have a good quarterback who can just get out there and sling it.
Yeah.
First quarter scoring is going to be paramount.
Well, and that probably plays to Notre Dame's advantage because Hartman is, I don't know how great of a rusher he is per se, because I've watched very, very little Wake Forest. I might have some of his rushing stats here. They're probably buried in the spreadsheet. But but if you're a pocket passer, and that's kind of your bag, hooray. I mean, last year, Hartman only had one rushing touchdown.
But he also didn't have an offensive line.
So next week, I'm gonna have much more deep dive into Hartman. I think next week's show should be just about Hartman. Excuse me. Next week's show is gonna be about Hartman. I'm still the host, right? I don't care what messages Dos Leprechauns sending me. I run the content here, right? I don't get the cliff notes for. That's a joke. But seriously, I have been looking at Hartman specifically as to his performance and why he is good. But then I'm also looking at kind of normalizing his statistics by what happens when he plays quote unquote good teams. And that's using air quotes there for good. So you guys can figure out what that is, but ground us in reality. Well, Adam, anything else? Do you want to talk about Bayless, or should we leave that for the next person?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say. I mean, I feel like there's maybe there's something else behind the story.
Oh, I'm like really 99% sure there's something else.
Yeah, because he always said it was his dream job and didn't want to go anywhere, so it just seemed really weird.
It is weird. When that news broke, Coach Freeman obviously has to do his press conference, and that's expected. And he said it's a quote personal matter, and I 100% believe that it's something personal, either with himself, with his family, what have you, that he must address. And so if anything, that's kind of a quote unquote good thing, because you can't be your best self for others if you can't be your best self for yourself or your family, right? So order of priorities, right? Like I said, we're going to start this podcast at 9:30, but that didn't happen because I was addressing other things with my household, right? So you got to take care of business. You got to do what you got to do. So him having the maturity and the wherewithal of prioritizing things appropriately in his life to address them, that sucks for quote unquote his career and this positive impact he's had with Notre Dame, and we all like him and all of that, but Fred Hale has taken over, and he has been around for a little while. I had never really heard of him. I'd seen him here and there, but I would feel worse about this situation if this was announced in like February.
Yeah, because most of his work's done right now.
Right. This is just maintain and kind of like build the endurance of the team for the gauntlet that they're about to do over the next 3-4 months.
And
right?
Now that I've seen Fred Hale, who he is, I've noticed him on the sidelines for a long time, and he's highly involved.
He's tall too.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him next to Bayless, and he was like a whole foot taller. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Yep. But I guess I'll get off here, but I just wanted to say that I'm just real excited for this year, with the, offensively, I think we're going to be fine. There's a lot of new weapons. I think this freshman class looks like they're like the most ready class.
Yeah. Ready to contribute.
Than I can remember. I mean, they're big and they're strong. I mean, you just see them. So I feel good about that. And then just my only worry is just kind of like the defensive front. And maybe our linebackers, because it seems like we're going to roll out the same guys. And I just feel like I haven't seen many plays, like just many big plays from. They might be solid and know where they need to be, but it just seems like the big plays from them haven't happened the last couple of years. But
yeah.
I guess those are my concerns. I'm just real excited to see what happens offensively.
I think so too, and especially with rule changes, like you said, and the game is kind of going more to offensive focus. I mean, we talk about stats of champions. What are those guys doing, right? The top 3 stats are all offensive, right? Total touchdowns, passing touchdowns, and scoring offense, then scoring defense, then total defense, right? After that is rushing touchdowns. So the top 4 out of the 6 are all offense, right? So the upper 2/3 there. So, Adam, I think that is the right focus. It's the right direction that the game is going. And in some respects, I kind of can appreciate the fact that they're trying to keep the game moving, so it doesn't take too long. I personally think they could have done other things like limit commercials and replay or whatever, but no one asked for my opinion, so I'm just gonna give it now.
All right, guys, I'll get off here and I'll let you.
No worries, Adam. Thank you for joining us. Oh, I'm happy to delight your ears for your commute or while you're doing yard work or whatever you're doing. So at Adam_Dowling1 on Twitter. Thank you for joining the show and welcoming us back again. All right. Let's jump over to Kevin Davis at Davis0560. You've been invited to speak. Kevin, if you're available, happy to have you jump on. One other person, as I was kind of, reacquainting myself with our coaching staff, one name that popped off the screen here was Amir Carlisle. Amir Carlisle is technically part of the staff, and he is the director of player development. So I'm not really sure what that is, other than maybe it's like making sure they go to class and, do their homework. I don't know.
He's the team agent for their NIL.
Is that what it is? That would be great.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah. So
player development? Let's see. How could a player develop outside of their coaches?
I don't know. Let's maybe Kevin Davis knows. He's on mute. We'll bring Kevin Davis on. Kevin, do you know what the director of player development's responsibilities are?
I have no. I've always wondered what that position was. I've never understood what that position was.
I work for a big company, and there's a few. We have a new CEO, and he's like coming in and kind of cleaning house. And there's some people that have some titles, and maybe some of them are starting to sweat because they're like, "Oh, I don't even know what I do." It's just like, what do you do? Just answer emails all day and write pressers? I don't know.
They probably
fill out TPT reports.
TPS
They
reports.
probably just look at grades and all that type of crap. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, and part of me kind of respects that if Notre Dame is still staying true to the mission of academics and making that important, and it is a very difficult place to get a degree from, so
Absolutely.
So that is one of the reasons why we probably like Notre Dame, like you have to really, it's a package deal that comes with it. So
Yep.
Kevin, thank you for joining us again. What are you excited for? You can touch on any topic you want. Wide open.
So there's a couple of things. I know Adam mentioned linebackers, and we all know when I've been on here, I've been critical of Notre Dame's linebackers. I've been very critical of them. I don't know how good they will be, but I feel like this year, the starters, they have to be worried because I think there's some kids behind them that are itching to play, and I feel like
Took the words right out of my mouth.
If they don't do their job, I feel like it's some boys behind them that are eager. I think the only reason why the name starters are who they are is because they know how to move the defense and things like that. But at any sign of mistake, I think they have the ability now this year to say, we got somebody else that can come in and do the job, and I'm happy for that. And not just for this year. I feel like the linebacker core in the near future is going to be crazy,
Yeah.
crazy good.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
to
we got
echo
some
what
guys
Adam
coming.
said, this freshman class is going to really challenge that, far gone persona of freshmen not starting. I think by middle of the season, you're going to see a couple of them with the number one position in their position.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be. I see mid-year some things changing defensively, and we all know that I like defense. I focus on defense, but I feel like I agree also that the interior front is where the interior two is where we a little bit of question there. I think our bookends are going to be kind of okay. I just feel like those interior two are going to be question marks along with the linebackers, and we really don't. Our safeties, we really don't know how. I just want to see how they move in game time situations. Watching Navy will tell a lot when it comes to the safeties. Well, maybe not because they probably don't get any more that many attempts from Navy, but we'll see. But the defense should be better than last year. I would say it should be better.
I
Not
certainly hope so.
where it should be, but I think they should be better.
I
So
certainly hope so.
looking
We
forward
definitely
to it.
have the depth to at least keep everyone fresh.
Yeah, absolutely.
The defense, if I may jump in here, the defense must improve from last year. I track,
agree.
how our defense, quote unquote, scores relative to everybody else in college football, and compared Al Golden to other Notre Dame defensive coordinators like Clark Lee or even Marcus Freeman from 2021 and Bob Diaco, right? Al Golden was not in the upper half. He was 9th on the list out of 13. So not good. Some of the things that really, raised some concerns, total defense was okay. We were 21st in the country. Scoring defense 39th. It needs to be better. The ones that really, really were bad were red zone scoring percentage on defense and red zone touchdown percentage on defense. We were second to last and last in the country in both of those stats. It was really, really bad. If an opponent got into the red zone, they scored. It was really bad. So if I'm trying to triage the defense and say this is like your Achilles heel, you must improve your red zone scoring defense. And then after that, go to what the national champions do, which is scoring defense and total defense, which is kind of, high level stuff, right? That's kind of the goal of everybody, but the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I just can't get the USC game out of my head when it comes to defense. Like that was probably the most atrocious defensive game I've ever seen. I mean, it was just bad, all around bad. But I was just sitting here thinking, not too long ago, like after this year, I'm looking forward to this year. I think we're going to be a surprise this year. I'm just thinking about our defense and our linebacker core next year, and I just want to see this and be so beautiful when we get this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 4-2-5 with Bowen and this kid coming out St. John's.
So you're thinking more like a nickel defense, or
a nickel, and if you could, if Snead could play the Sam, he probably can in the 4-2-5. But if he could, I mean, that linebacker core would just be so beautiful. It just would be probably one of the most elite linebacker cores in the nation. It's going to be wonderful. I'm looking forward to it.
What I just want this year is more consistency out of the linebackers, because if you look at some of our games like Clemson or Boston College or Syracuse, the defense was really good, but then you had just catastrophic, pants shitting with USC, and then Ohio State was okay. It wasn't great. Ohio State just adjusted and we didn't, and they figured out how to beat us, right? Even though we were up at halftime. But like Cal and Marshall, like why are we not dominating? But I agree, the USC one, from a scoring drive situation, this is something I started tracking last year. USC had 9 scoring drives in that game, and they scored on 6 of them. 2 out of the 3. Notre Dame 4 out of the 9. Now, fortunately for Notre Dame, is we finally got the train rolling towards the end of the game, and it actually was Drew Pine's probably best game of the season. The problem was the defense just didn't get a stop.
Yeah, I personally blame that game on the coaching staff. I don't blame that on the player. I think that was
Right.
the coaching staff lost defensively. That was just bad scheming. When I think about with that linebacker core, though, I think they're smart. Those boys are super smart playing that position. I don't think they're talented enough, though. I think the talent's not matching their smartness and their understanding of the game, right? So I think you get in certain situations, it's just they can't get certain places fast enough, or they're out positioned or they're out muscled. I don't think they're just not doing it. I just don't know if this core is talented enough against some of the team that they're going against. I just feel like where we're going to get in is some of those guys behind them right now. I think there's talent behind it. They just got to get up to speed with the mind side of it. And I think some boys behind it are looking nice.
I mean, you've got the guys with the most experience are, J.D. Bertrand, Maris Liafau, and Jack Kaiser, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, these are regular dudes, but these aren't guys that are, this isn't, Stonebreaker or Teo or, pick your favorite historical linebacker, right, from Notre Dame. These guys, they're great. We'll do a breakdown of, what's still in the cupboard and the production in 2 weeks when we do that show, offense and defensive production. But my hope is some of the guys that have been in the program for a year or two, like a Jalen Sneed, they've had good off seasons. They've gotten faster and stronger and whatnot, and they can come in and contribute quickly. Or maybe, someone like Drake Bowen is just fantastic and amazing, and he's going to, make great contributions against Navy when we're up by 3 scores. I don't know. That's always what you want. You want your young guys to get a lot of reps when they when we're playing a weaker opponent.
And I do think Al Golden. I think he has something to prove. I think he has to.
I think so too.
He has to show something.
I think so too. All right. Well, that's kind of where we're at right there. Yeah. So Kevin, we got a couple other people that have jumped on and listened, or some other people who probably want to contribute. Any last thoughts here?
No, just excited about the season, and please send out the link about the Special Olympics, because I'm involved in it too. I have a son with autism, so I'm heavily involved in Special Olympics, and I would definitely donate.
Oh, right. Hey, glad to hear your support, and yeah, we'll definitely get that bat signal out there for the Special Olympics. If anyone wants to support, I'm doing the plane poll on August 12th. So if you want to jump on and support, if not, and you just want to, send me a way to go on Twitter, that works too. So excellent. At Davis0560 on Twitter. Thank you so much, sir. And go Irish. All right. One other topic that we've actually had quite a bit going on in this off season, and I was tempted a few times to fire up the mic. And one of the big ones that came up is we have a new athletic director coming up here. Now, not this season, but the following season. Pete Bevacqua. How come everyone's got a complicated name? I don't know what that means. But, yeah, he's been, the chair of NBC Sports? Like, good grief. He's an attorney. He was the CEO of the PGA, Good grief, So, I don't know what that means. So, clearly someone who's putting his degree from Notre Dame to work. Now, the positives about this is, number one, Jack Swarbrick can retire, fine. And I think Jack had been part of Notre Dame to modernize the program, kind of like Kelly, and the Brian Kelly experiment was Jack Swarbrick, right? But, had to put in turf and expand the stadium and do the Under Armour thing. And it looks like Jack's doing the Under Armour thing again, which burns my ass, but that's a whole other topic. But with new athletic director Pete here coming in, he's a grad of 93, which means that he was a student during the, quote, good years of Holtz. So it's my hope that he kind of has that, like romanticism about Notre Dame football that a lot of us fans have as well. And so he can appreciate what it takes to build winning football and has physically seen what winning football is from the student section or whatnot when you're in your formidable college years. So that's something else to think about there. So we'll stay curious on where this goes with the new athletic director for sure. It looks like the walls are closing in on Notre Dame's independence. Now, in my opinion, we should join a conference, but it's not because I hate being independent. It's just kind of more like, look, this is just where college football is now. And especially with the new playoff format coming up, if you are not in a conference and you don't win the conference, you have the opportunity for that first week bye. Again, one less opportunity for your players to get injured or whatever. Why would we make the journey harder per se? Now, you can argue, well, if you're in the conference, you have to play an extra game anyway. That is true. But then my response to that is, if you're in the conference and you play another team for a trophy, it's a lesser quality trophy per se, but it is a stepping stone of improvement. It's a shot of the arm, gives the team some confidence. And look, the season is longer than it's ever been before. This is the world of social media, instant gratification. Not that our players are weak and they're got attention deficit disorder or something to that effect. No, that's not what we're saying. But success builds on success. And if you have a stepping stone of a conference championship, that is a step in the right direction. Plus then, okay, you're in the playoffs. Hey, we ranked well. Like, look at it another way. Let's pretend Notre Dame is just destroying people 50-0, mopping through the schedule, great strength of schedule, right? It kind of looks like this season, right? But we're not in a conference. But like, say the AP is putting us at number 1. We could still do no better than 5 under this format and still get a home game at Notre Dame, which is cool. But it's like, that kind of sucks. So that's a hypothetical situation, but those are kind of Joe's opinions. Now, I will also say this. This is my 4th year doing this podcast. I've had this opinion about Notre Dame joining a conference on day 1. Now, I don't have the date written down in front of me. I'd have to pull up the old notebook here. It's in the drawer. But the first show I ever did, the audio is trash, and we weren't going live on Twitter. But I came out, and I'm sometimes treated like a leper like this, but I said that Notre Dame should abandon independence and join a conference. But that was sparked because that was during COVID. That was the year Notre Dame joined the ACC for that 1 year. So, pencils down.
I was gonna say something real quick.
Yeah, what's up, Kevin?
Independence was never what we wanted from the beginning. It was something we were forced into, right? We never wanted it. We were forced into it.
Yeah, we kind of owned it, right?
Yeah, so I don't understand why some people are like, we've done great with our.
Well, we've always been independent. Yeah, that's out of necessity.
Yeah, we didn't want it. That wasn't originally what Notre Dame wanted. So people saying we should stay it because that's where we're always been. That wasn't always the plan. So
that's like, we should just always have turf, or we should always have Under Armour because that's what. Oh. No, I think that's a great point, Kevin. Yes, if you look into history, Notre Dame, I think, tried getting into the Big Ten twice. And I think the most recent turn was in the mid-'90s, like the end of the Holtz era or during the Bob Davie years, something to that effect. Maybe the NBC deal was coming up. Who knows? But like there was talk in the 90s of Notre Dame joining the Big Ten at around that time. And that might have been around the same time that Penn State jumped into the Big Ten. So I'm a little fuzzy on Notre Dame's interactions with the Big Ten and joining that conference, which look, if someone wants my opinion, which of course you all listen to this show, so you're going to listen. If there was a conference I would pick or select, it would be the Big Ten. But that's only because of regional, proximity, of all the teams we've played historically, from Michigan to Purdue to Michigan State, right? We have rivalry trophies with 2 of those. We hate the team up north, right? The Big Ten makes sense. And then with UCLA and USC, our rival USC now joined the Big Ten in not this season, but the following season of 2024. It's starting to paint a clearer picture, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, the West Coast invasion of the Big Ten is gonna help, I think, grease some wheels. It makes even more sense for us to join.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is there's more conference alignment. You got the 2 big teams in California from Southern California. They're joining the Big Ten, but then the Big 12 is growing as it's losing Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. And so the Big 12 was getting BYU, UCF,
Colorado,
Houston. Colorado is like a recent addition, but it was the original. Oh, and then Cincinnati. So the original 4 did not have Colorado. It was Cincinnati, BYU, UCF, and Houston. And now Colorado has said that they're going to be leaving as well and going back to the Big 12 where they originally kind of started, which is interesting. So I'm not really sure what's happening out west with the Pac-12. Part of me kind of hopes that Gonzaga is going to leave the WCC and join the Pac-12 for basketball. But that's something else altogether. And yes, I went to Gonzaga. So I don't know. It's a lot of things are moving around, and maybe Notre Dame's kind of waiting for the dust to settle on all of this. Because let's face it, in 2 years, college football is going to be completely different playoff format. You're going to have, all these conferences are going to look totally different from where they are now. Notre Dame apparently is still going to be wearing shitty Under Armour, and maybe they'll finally fix the ass sweat pants. Who knows? But I'm not too thrilled about that. Clearly, the university got a lot of money out of the deal, but the last 11 years or whatever it is. Let me rephrase this. Ever since 2011, every team that's won the title has worn Nike. That's a fact. Just go look it up.
Yep.
So, wear Nike. All right. Maybe the equipment is superior. I don't know. It's a rumor. It's a thought. It's an opinion. I don't know. All right. Let's move on here. Let's see here. I see Justin Cates at Uncle June at Justin Cates on the Twitter. You've been invited to speak. Come in, cool off out of the hot Arizona sun. Justin Cates, Uncle June. If you want to jump on, jump on. If not, we'll move on to Benny. All right. We'll go over to Benny. Golden is thy name. If Benny wants to jump on and speak. If not, we'll just continue on.
What's up, my man?
Hey. Long time no see, my friend.
I know, man. I'm so glad you went to Macayos. Good place.
That was good. Yeah. I was on that business trip down in Arizona, and I was like, hey, I'm going through a legit Mexican food withdrawal here, and I'm gonna reach out to the resident of a recommended place. So it was a hit.
Macayos is the place, but I won't bore the other people listening.
No, we'll just make people hungry. It's all good.
Well, and if you come to Arizona, hit up Macayos. They invented the chimichanga.
That is true. At Justin Cates on Twitter, what do you want to talk about with Notre Dame football? It's kind of
let's just talk. about your Etsy store? Is it still open?
Okay, that's interesting. So Dos Leprechauns, since we're now part of Dos Leprechauns, we have a new logo, as you've seen from the avatar on Twitter at @faithful_Irish. So a lot of this stuff is going to post through their YouTube channel and whatnot, rather than the old Fighting Irish Faithful channel. It's still out there, but we agreed to join the larger organization. But yes, the Etsy store I think will stay open because there's certain things that my store sells that the Dos Leprechauns does not. So we haven't quite figured out how that's going to exactly be paired. But Etsy is not dead. You can still get the old logo for the old gear if one wants. So
Okay. All right.
The vintage logo.
Well, no, the vintage
vintage.
one is the one that's like contraband, like that you can't get, like that.
That's what I'm saying. I love my vintage logo.
Yeah, some people at Notre Dame's legal department. Maybe that's what Amir Carlisle is doing now. He's director of player development. Like he's doing social media, making sure like no one's selling, Audric Estime t-shirts or something. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Hey, like I said, protector of the NIL.
Yeah, that's right. Who knows? But Justin Cates, any thoughts on the newer coaching staff, direction of the program? Trying to stay very macro this week, or how about this? Some of the hurdles that Marcus Freeman has. He's got new coaches. He's got Under Armour, so that's a hurdle.
There's a hurdle.
Losing Bayless's personal situation, whatever that is, but we'll respect his privacy. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, well, I'll give you two things.
Two things.
I think that Bayless hurts. I will say this. There's like a couple coming from someone who's been in a strength conditioning program at Division I level. There's like a couple of different like thoughts. Like one is, a lot of strength and power, and another is lean and flexible. Bayless really liked a really lean sort of fighting machine. What
are Georgia and Alabama doing?
They're doing big guys with bellies who just push you out of the way. That's what they do. But they also do it different positionally, But if you look at, not that having a belly's good, but if you take a look at the offensive line, and to be fair, the new offensive line coach is recruiting some bigger, thicker type of guys.
Yeah.
You don't want bad weight, but I'd rather be able. I'll tell you this from playing nose. If I was playing a guy who just weighed 300 pounds, I knew I could anchor and just sort of hold my own, and I could sort of go strength for strength. But if I was getting pushed around by someone who was like 320 or 330, you can no longer just anchor and hold your own. You're going to have to be able to push back a little bit, and that extra weight will help. I think he's a great strength conditioning guy. I hope everything's okay.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing, I don't know. I hope we're just going to run the crap out of the ball. I mean, I love the truffle ball talk. I think that's, great. We have a guy now who can throw it over the top once he's been running for a while.
I predict,
and I like it.
Have more 10+ yard run breaks because of the passing game. I think a little bit more of a balanced attack is going to give us the opportunity to run the ball, but run the ball through some lanes, because like Adam was saying earlier, they're not going to be able to stack the box against us. And I think that's going to help just both sides, running and passing.
Well, yeah, and they can't stack the box, and we can also throw it over your head, which we didn't have the ability to do last year.
Yeah, I mean, rushing touchdowns are really important. The national champion ranks 12th in that stat historically over the last 10 years on average. And the value is they run 37 rushing touchdowns for their team. Now, it's not quite as many as passing touchdowns. Passing touchdowns is about 41, so it's a little low. just under, but it's still a noticeable percentage of the overall production of scoring touchdowns. So we have to be able to run the ball well. Teams that win the title, they do both well. So, if let me put it another way, if we don't run the ball over 50%, we're not going to do well. We have to run the ball from a play selection standpoint. It must be run over pass. And I will fight this. The only time that wasn't the case over the past, well, first off, for the last 10 years, it hasn't happened. Okay. But the last time there was a team that ran the ball less than what they threw was actually, believe it or not, Alabama I'm sorry, I'm looking at Notre Dame. U-turn, turn around. Run percentage. Right. Okay, I lied. I'm like, where's Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow. If you have Joe Burrow on your team, i.e. a Heisman Trophy quarterback who's just being stupid and throwing insane amounts of passing touchdowns, okay, then yes, you can pass more. So if Hartman is looks like he's going to throw 60 passing touchdowns for the season, okay, sure, go for it, buddy. Have a day.
Heisman train going?
I'm sorry?
So if we have the Hartman Heisman train going?
Yeah, exactly. Like if that actually is happening, okay, that's a different story, right? And of course everyone wants that, like maybe it will, maybe it won't. I'm not going to start, predicting anything like that. Those are exceptions, not the norm. But like take Georgia and Alabama the last 3 years, right? Their passing touchdowns are all around that 50%. Georgia actually, they had more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns last year, right? So most of the time
we got to. Sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say we also have a sort of a nice rule change coming that's going to really help if you can sort of take the air out of the ball. The clock will no longer stop on first downs. So
that's right.
That's going to matter.
Yeah.
Like that's going to matter at the end of the game. Like that's going to be probably going to shorten the game 2 or 3 possessions.
Yeah, I agree. I think you hit it right there, is that the number of possessions for the teams, the effectivity of your scoring on your possessions needs to be paramount. We mentioned earlier with Kevin, we were talking about linebacking play, and we were talking about the successful scoring drives of USC versus Notre Dame, right? That percentage is going to be very impactful. When you have the ball and you're possessing it and you're going down the field, how often are you actually putting points on the board, or how often are you turning it over, or punts, or turnover on downs, right? Things of that nature. It's got to be points on the scoreboard. It's got to be.
Oh, agreed. 100%.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Jason has stopped off. That's no problem. At Justin Cates on the Twitter, thank you for joining us and pumping the Etsy store more and more and more. So, all right. Well, there's Kevin, there's Jason, there's Patty Mac. Everyone's been invited to speak. We got Regizan here at Regisan 42. If you want to jump on, we're gonna start winding it down. It's 11:30 here. It is Monday night. So we got a lot of the week left for work. And if not, though, we'll just move on. So yeah, the new stats for this year, we've kind of touched on them a little bit, but yes, stats of champions every year. We have repolished them. We've moved them around. The top 3 stats are all offense. Last year, scoring defense was number 3rd. Scoring defense has dropped by 1. Scoring offense moved up to replace it. So very important. So overall, you know, things don't move around too much. 2 years ago, though, passing touchdowns jumped 5 places, which was really surprising. And of course, it's maintaining. So total touchdowns, passing touchdowns, scoring offense, then scoring defense, total defense, rushing touchdowns, rushing defense, total offense, etc. Those are the things we're going to be talking about this season, and we will stay on the point. We will not deviate from that. And this is how we will be comparing Notre Dame, but also Notre Dame to their opponent. Now, at the beginning of the season, it's kind of difficult to gauge that because the season's just getting started. But once you hit 3-4 games in, those stats really start making a lot more sense and being much more revealing. And I have made the mistake personally, let's jump to the Cincinnati game, right? We've kind of talked about that a little bit, right? Desmond Ridder comes into Notre Dame, and Notre Dame, season ticket holders sell their tickets to Cincinnati fans, whatever. Okay. I remember going into that game, I purposely didn't look at a couple of the stats, and I was like, oh, Notre Dame's going to win because they just came off this big win at Wisconsin, and they're on an emotional high, and da-da-da-da. No, I failed to recognize and to point out on the podcast leading up to the Cincinnati game how Cincinnati was better in some of these important stats that are at the top of the list over Notre Dame. And I neglected to do that because I was kind of testing the waters. Is this really significant? And lo and behold, it is. So I'm not going to bullshit you. I will never do that. Hard truth. In 2020, I said there was no way Notre Dame was going to beat Alabama, and we didn't win. So it is what it is. So but not to sound negative, I'm very optimistic and hopeful for the season. I genuinely do think that we are in for something very special this season. What that is, I don't know yet. The schedule looks fairly benign at the beginning of the year, although we don't really know what Navy is doing because they have a whole new coaching staff. But we got Ohio State, we got USC both at home, and then we got Clemson. Now that Clemson game, I think the writing will be on the wall, Red Snapper. And we tried to get tickets to that, but it just wasn't going to work out. They were already sold out, right?
Yeah.
But, Red Snapper, you're coming up for a game. Which game is that?
I believe it's the Wake Forest game.
It is Wake Forest, yeah, against Sam Hartman's former team. So that'll be interesting. So
no, that'll be a great one.
It will. Well, we won't abandon all traditions on this podcast. So we already gave the Twitter shout out to Notre Dame Fighting Irish Media. It's the toast of the night. And we haven't mentioned this yet, but we have been saving this for the end. And the toast is to the celebration of life of Heisman Trophy winner and Notre Dame legend, immortalized Johnny Lujack. I didn't realize actually that he was of Polish descent, but a World War II war hero, served in the Navy. Heisman Trophy winner of 47. Doing this research, I was looking at all of Notre Dame's Heisman Trophy winners, Bertelli, Lujack, Hart, Latner, Horning, Hewitt, and Brown, right? The first 4 guys, they all played for Leahy.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. Between 43 and 53, you've got 4 Heisman Trophy winners and 4 titles also. So that I thought was cool. But yeah, you guys can all go and look up all the stats. I have them here, but I know everyone else can just go do this. Read what Johnny Lujack did. Now, what's interesting is when you go and look up historically, you only really see the passing touchdowns. I have actually found it very difficult to find the rushing touchdowns from 1947. Now, maybe that is what it is because the scores were like 10-3 back in the day, right? I don't know. But based off of what I've seen, it looks like they don't distinguish between rushing or passing touchdowns at the time, so I found that kind of odd. But regardless, Johnny Lujack, he passes away at the age of 90, whatever, and gosh, to just be blessed to live for 90 plus years, number one, but then to have played in college football, been part of a war hero in World War II. He played professional football. Johnny Lujack is definitely someone that you could say was certainly clearly the Heisman Trophy winner, but you hear him and immediately you think Notre Dame, and this is the kind of stuff that makes Notre Dame special. And so anyway, toast to Johnny Lujack for the night. So. Well, that kind of sums it up, unless someone else has anything else they want to really, really get off their chest. This is just kind of the way we're going here. Going to take the bull by the horns here this season. Happy to be back podcasting with all of you. It's been a long, long time since the spring game, but the fall is upon us. And let's get after this. So we'll return next week. So here's kind of the rundown. I was kind of doing some breakdown of what we're going to do. So very high level, talking about some hurdles that Marcus Freeman may have to encounter this preseason going into the Navy game. We've got, we're going to have a dedicated show about Sam Hartman next week. The following week, we'll talk about production and kind of breaking down positions a little bit more. And then we may throw a couple of special shows in there, trying to get some stuff set up with some other guests. I'll just put it that way. And then, of course, we'll jump into Navy pregame stuff on 8/22, where we hope to bring Stevie D. Irish from the Republic of Ireland back onto the show, and give him some spotlight, since he is it's a home game for him. So
he's going to be the on the ground reporter.
I mean, I think he still has to drive across the country from wherever I don't think he lives like around the corner from Dublin, in my opinion. So, I don't know specifically. I believe we've had a conversation a long time ago. I think he lives in County Cork, which is on the west side. So,
very cool.
Either way, significantly closer for him than anyone else.
Hey, it's a road trip.
It is a road trip. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's probably maybe a little bit farther than me driving up to South Bend. I imagine it is a little farther than my 3.5 hour commute. I don't know. I'm gonna have to plug in some stuff in Google Maps here to figure out how far County Cork is from Dublin. Or it's Aviva Stadium, which is outside of Dublin. But anyway, all right, we're getting rambly. End of the podcast. End of the scotch. Right? That's just what happens. So thank you everyone for joining me. I am at faithful_Irish on the Twitter. Thank you for lending me your ears, and my co-host, Red Snapper 9098. We thank you very much for making us a part of your day. Have a good week, and not everything is going to be new. We still have the same wonderful theme song. So here we go. Go Irish.
Throws the ball. It is caught. Reggie Brooks. Reggie Brooks got it for a two-pointer, and Notre Dame is out in front, 17-16. Lost the ball. The pass is batted down. It's batted down by Carroll.
It's caught by Samoza. Inside the 20. Inside the 10. He's going in. Notre Dame has scored. Dawson throws. Open receiver in the end zone. Touchdown. Notre Dame. Somehow the Irish did it.
Out of the pack, 30, 35. Goodbye, baby. At the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. 5-5 rocket touchdown. Irish.
Tyree. Whoa. Can he get there? Tyree at the 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Woo. 98. Big ones.
Zibikowski looking for a block. Cuts to the right to the 40. Gets a block. Gets to the 45, 50. Up to the 45, 40, 30. One man to beat. 20, 15, 10. He's down to the 5. Touchdown, Irish.